Hey guys, Luxker here. This is part 2 of the KOS-MOS figure tier list discussion that I'm doing with Watte. If you haven't watched the first part yet, I recommend you do so. This video is going to be much shorter than the previous one, but we'll get to why that is later. For now, please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell for updates on my videos that are going to be coming out for the rest of the month. Without further ado, let's continue. The next figure on our list is a whole slew of trading figures made by FigureMeister. There's at least 12 KOS-MOS figures or maybe more. How many are there from FigureMeister?
Geez, it's a little hard because there's 3 different sets. And in each three different sets, there's usually 2 of each. There's an original color, a variant color. But in the third set, there is, they call them, this specific figure is called from the best, it's literally the best is the name of the collection. It's nothing but wild variant colors. They just wild out their random colors that are nothing. This one has silver hair, for example. But it's just that specific series is this is the nicest color, the nicest figures, but random color variations. But yeah, there's 3 different trading figure sets that I'm aware of.
There probably is more, honestly. My God, these FigureMeister figures are just I'm trying to look through these pictures just to see which one is which, and it's just so hard to tell apart from each because it's a slight difference from the color of their hair. But we will get to them later on. But this one and the regular one in particular, I would say they are pretty decent. I like the pose on them. They're pretty nice to put out on a shelf somewhere. I say this is top of B tier for me, really. I slightly like the blue-haired one more than the chrome-colored one, but I like how these poses look on V1 KOS-MOS, so...
Yeah, I would agree. They're really good quality. I don't really have any gripes about them. I think they're maybe...
I think for some of them later are pretty big stinkers. But these, I feel show themselves very well. Actually, no. I spotted a difference between the chrome and the regular one. The color of her gloves and the strap around her leg is a bluish color on the secret version.
Yeah.
While the regular one is black gloves and a leg strap.
One's navy and one's black.
Yeah, maybe you are right. No, I like the black gloves a little bit better, so... The blue ones are nice, so that's why I put them right next to each other, so...
It's pretty interesting because they're sort of just, you get to see different colors. So I don't mind it too much because it's you get to see wacky stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes the color choices are hit or miss. But it's interesting.
But yeah, I really like the pose for these. So I say they're pretty decent for trading figure standards. But we will come to the later FigureMeister figures where I really don't care for as much. And the next one in particular is one where it's just way too confusing to know. And the figures themselves just don't really do a lot for me. So I'm going to put them in different parts. And that's the swimsuit FigureMeister figures. I'm going to go ahead and name them off. This one right here is bluefish color, right? And this one is coral blue. These look so similar, it's just hard to tell apart.
They so are. The thing is I honestly, it's gonna sound horrible. I always feel the swimsuit ones deserve it to be in D tier. And the only reason I say this is because I feel so annoyed that they have so many of them in so many different color variations that are taking up slots for figures, cooler ones we could have, right? And I feel it's just your typical fan servicey type figure, and so that's probably why I'm a little annoyed with it. I mean, they're really good figures, but I just dropped them down to the lowest of my collection because I feel they're not unique because there's so many of them. They just threw out as many color variations as they could, you know.
They are both low C tier for me. They're just there's nothing going on with them. It's just the same freaking pose as the altar figure. The 4 color variations just look really dumb. The coral blue and the bluefish especially. How the heck can you tell them apart from each other? What's the point? The only one I think I like is the orange one. That's it. And that is just below everything else, so...
I think there's the two ones, the lightest blue and the coral blue, those two other blue ones are metallic. That's like the paint quality. The other two are flat matte, but the other two are metallic. That's like really the only difference. But even then, even if you like make them metallic, it's not enough to make me be like, yeah, that's, you know, worth it.
No, it's not even worth it, honestly. We'll talk about the pose when we get to the alter swimsuit figure. But like, they're just not great for trading figures, I'll be honest. Anyways, let's actually get to a pretty great figure, and that's the KOS-MOS V1 Kotobukiya model kit. I've seen pictures of it. Let me actually pull up a picture, because this is just the box of it that you have out sealed and stuff like that. But let me look up the MyFigureCollection KOS-MOS figure real quick. Oh yeah, this looks like a really nice figure, I'll be honest. I like the leg joints on it, honestly. They're about as good as the Max Factory one that we will get to later, but this is the version 1. I like how the hair looks, and the stand especially. The pole doesn't look like a cheap plastic looking pole. It has a little bit of detail to it, and it is weird for these little holders and everything that it would just be like that. But Kotobukiya did this model kit very well here.
What's interesting
the weapons look really cool too.
Yeah, what's interesting about this is it's one of their first kits. So from my understanding and watching people build it, because I watched several people on YouTube as well, just out of curiosity when I was going through it, because I didn't have time to build it either. Apparently it's difficult to work with, because like even on the shoulder pieces, you know how she has those little pointy parts right there? They have to be glued on, and so like there's like certain things that don't connect like a regular more modern kit. So I've heard that it looks fantastic, but there's like a lot of extra things they don't tell you that you need besides things to cut the pieces out, like the I don't even know what they're called. They're not shears, but they're like the things that there's like these nippers. That's what they're called. Nippers to pull them out of the gates and stuff. So like it's a really good figure, but I hear that there's like a lot of like sanding and stuff required to get rid of like, there's these things called nubs when you clip them out that are like little points where they get separated out. You have to sand down. So I just hear that it looks good, but it's a lot of work.
Oh, for sure. Like, I have heard the Siren figures are a lot of work to do. And this one is what you're describing me as typical Kotobukiya model kit shenanigans for the Xeno series figures, it seems.
Siren is lucky because Siren they put the gates right, so it's not, you don't have as many like the nubbing and sanding down issues. But like I have to put the decals on but I built it, but like yeah, there was sanding involved in that too. So yeah.
But otherwise, Kotobukiya did some pretty good stuff here. The X-Buster looks really nice. They got all of KOS-MOS' weapons like the pistol and the arm cannon. All of them look really good.
They are, yeah. All the weapons and stuff you are really detailed.
The only thing I have noticed is the back of her hair looks so strange. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Again, this is Twin Tails, but it's like...
Why joint it at all?
Why make a joint for this when you can make it plastic? But maybe if you were to position it right, you won't notice it as much anymore. We will get to some hair issues later on.
It could just be them being novices at the time, because like literally this is one of their like earliest kits, which is pretty surprising to me, like when I was researching. So it could just be that they just didn't know how to properly like, you know, do that out, like mold it out. But I don't know. Yeah,
you are totally right on this. I like the different variations in the eye color as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, those are decals, I think, so you'd have to just like slap them on.
I might actually put this lower on the A tier spectrum, but it is still good figure-wise. You just have to position it correctly just so the weird joint issues don't stand out as much.
Yeah.
But yeah. So our next one is another Figuremeister figure, and we already seen these before. I think this isn't the best figure. These are just the regular ones, right?
Yeah, these are just the standard. The only difference is like eye color. So I mean, I still like them. I still put them, you know, in B because it's the same pose. The only difference is color. So it's just preference on like what you like, you know. Yeah,
for sure. And this one right here is another V1 KOS-MOS figure with a different pose. I'm not sure if I like this one as much. It makes her look cute, but looking at pictures of it, it kind of looks awkward looking. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's her.
It's hard because
Oh, it's the one from Xenokami, and it's just now can see why. Now I can see why they wanted to do that now, actually. But I like the Xenokami KOS-MOS one. It's just very. There isn't a lot to say about it besides the headgear and stuff. That's just a me thing, though.
no, I agree with you absolutely. I think though the only difference between the two, because you see that one further down, yeah, the one you just pulled up. The difference is one has glossed hair, and in the hair there's like sparkles and stuff. It's like fiber optic hair, which is the one on the that you just moved over in front. That's really the only difference. And that one has blue eyes, the one with the fiber optic hair. But like, yeah, the other one's just like a plain. Usually, this is from like Legends 2, which is the more common set that you can buy. Like even now today, it's not as popular, so you can just like go and find them pretty easily. But yeah, that's why. It's because they're pretty much like standard plain type, you know.
Yeah, the glossy hair one looks really nice. It's just like it's necessary to have the Xenokami ones, but personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the Xenokami KOS-MOS one, so maybe it's just how it's posed and whatnot. It just kind of irks me a little bit. Now let's get into yet another V1 figure, and that's the one from MyFigureCollection collection from Kyoto. And this figure looks incredible, I'll be honest. This looks a lot better than any of the Kotobukiya model kit figures. Like, this one in particular has probably the most badass stand out of all of them. It has a freaking Zohar for a stand. That's the most striking one that I have seen. And that looks really cool because of that. But KOS-MOS herself, there's some issues about it. Like, the hair looks a little bit faded out from your picture.
That's the original color, and this is what I mean about like discoloration. Because like what happens is this one only gets like literally will get yellowed. So you can go on like on eBay or something and go look at it. But like essentially like it's supposed to be light like that. So that is actually on purpose. It's a light blue instead, which is a little like here or there. Because like the problem with KOS-MOS figures is the blue always varies drastically between all of them. So there's no darker hair color. Like that's it. Like that's the proper color. So like that is some people's complaint that it's like too faded, like it's too light. But the only other option is like it can yellow because of the material. So it's really actually really hard to get one that's that color, that's pure blue like that. Like I had to search for quite a while, and it's not stored where my shelves are. It's not stored in direct sunlight. Because of that reason, it's like on a back wall. Because yeah, it's really easy to discolor, unfortunately. But you're right, it is gorgeous from like just the figure standpoint. It's amazing. But
yeah, it's a well articulated figure, and yeah, the only issue with it is the hair. It's just everything else about it looks fantastic. I feel nothing much to say here. The Zohar stand looks nice. Very different from any other KOS-MOS figures where it's just a blue or black or white stand, or just like any other typical stand really. But yeah, I like how it looks here, so definitely A tier for this one.
yeah, I think the only drawback and the only thing that I could say about this figure is that on the stand, when you put it on the Zohar, they have these weird, the pegs are weird. So like it's very easy for you to snap the pegs if you're trying to take the figure off the Zohar. Never do it. I'm just going to pre-warn you to never take it off of there. I actually did it once on stream just to show somebody. It just snapped right off, and I had to like use that Zappa Gap glue to like, you know, whatever. Who cares?
Shoot.
It's an extra. So like I don't mind. They're out for display. If they break, it's not a big deal, you know. That's why I told you I get 2 of them. But like the stand is very much like the pegs can snap easy. So if you're putting it on, put it on and leave it on, and don't ever, you know, try to. Other than that, it's fantastic. But the stand it breaks pretty easy.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, this sounds really painful. We'll get to the swimsuit ones a little bit later on, but yeah, one of the pegs on one of them broke off, so Yeah, it's such a pain in the butt to put it all back together again, so...
Mine is broken on my peg as well, so I just super glued the heel on. That's a whole nother... But they have an issue with pegs, it seems like, but it's a whole nother thing, yeah.
Yeah, right. And the next one is yet another V1 figure. Man, are we just going through all the V1 figures or something like that? But this one comes from Namco, actually. And it is the V1 KOS-MOS, and it's just a standard typical figure. Nothing really special about it.
I will debate the special part, and the only reason I'll debate that is because it's actually the first KOS-MOS figure ever made. It comes in the limited edition of Xenosaga Episode 1 at launch. There's a limited edition boxes for Episode 1 and Episode 2, and each one have a figure, and this is from the Episode 1 box, and it's really the first one that was ever made. So to me, even though it doesn't look the best, it's like literally the first one, so it like sort of holds like a little bit of a special place in my heart. They're not too hard to find, like they're not super expensive or anything, but it's literally just like the first one, and what's crazy is it's packaged in like, at least for those who are in America, I don't know if anybody outside, but you know how you have like those action figures at like at a grocery store or at like a toy store or something, where they have like those, it's like a backboard on it and it's like a plastic bubble on it. It's packaged that way, so it's sort of like packaged as like an old school action figure. So it sort of is like a little nostalgic too. But yeah,
no,
it doesn't look the
I
greatest,
understand that actually, but I still think this is just a
Yeah.
low B tier figure.
Mm-hmm.
Just the most minimum. Like I said, there's nothing really special or noteworthy about it besides being the first KOS-MOS figure ever. But that's just really me, so... But yeah, the next figures though, I'll be perfectly honest. These are, like you said about the Episode 1 V1 figure, this figure came with the limited edition for Episode 2. And, what came with it is... Oh my God!